You'll want to pick up some chicken wire when you see how it can organize your life to the hilt. I'm choosing a bulletin board size that can be completely covered with the chicken wire, leaving some additional room to wrap the edges. I'm cutting the chicken wire off the roll that I will need for later. Some reclaimed wood boards are being positioned around the bulletin board to create a frame. I'm measuring the width and height along the inside of the boards to ensure they create a perfect rectangle, then marking the measurements with a pencil. All 4 boards are getting cut using a miter saw, so I end up with 2 identically sized shorter and 2 longer boards. The boards are being repositioned back on the table using a carpenter's square in each corner to help with a square alignment. 2 pencil marks are being drawn on top of the shorter boards in each corner, then pre-drilled with a small drill bit. 1 screw is being inserted into each corner to start. Choosing an old off-white curtain panel with a nice texture, I'm spreading it onto a table, then positioning the bulletin board on top. Using scissors, I'm cutting around the bulletin board, leaving enough seam allowance to fold over the edges. The fabric is getting ironed, then placed back down on a clean table, good side down. With the bulletin board back on top, good side down, I'm folding the fabric around the short edge of the bulletin board first, then stapling the 2 corners in place. More staples are being added as needed, pulling the fabric smooth as I work. For the corners, I'm running my finger along the current fold so the fabric lays as smooth as possible. I'm now placing the chicken wire on the table, holding it down with thumbtacks so it lays flat. The fabric-covered bulletin board is being positioned in the middle of the chicken wire. Starting with 2 shorter sides first, I'm pulling on the wire, then wrapping it around the edges and stapling it into place, then continuing the same with the longer sides. Choosing my installation zone, I'm positioning a few boards on top of the furniture piece to the height I want the board to hang. I'm attaching the chicken wire board to the wall using long finishing nails, leaving me the proud owner of the cutest organizing board in the land. I love how the rustic wood marries the simple chicken wire mesh against that soft white fabric so everything has a fresh, neutral look. The chicken wire allows you to use virtually any hooks to hang your accessories, making hanging and dismounting effortless. And the bulletin board allows you to use push pins. While I'm using my board as a decorative command center, it can also be used to hang craft supplies, paintbrushes, tools, dried flowers, receipts, artwork, or whatever you wish. You're going to want to grab a small wooden bowl from a thrift store, plus some chicken wire and 1/4-inch metal hardware cloth when you see how adorable these 2 garden ideas turned out. I'm rolling out some chicken wire, then stabilizing it with 2 boards, then cutting out 3 squares using wire snips. Now I'm creating a way to join 2 ends. I'm snipping off one side with some wires sticking out and the other side with the hexagon shapes closed. Next, I'm joining the 2 ends together by twisting the longer wires to the closed hexagons until I create a closed tube shape. Using both hands, I'm closing one end of the tube by squishing the wire together, then inserting a fisted hand inside to give the top a round shape. Now I'm removing my hand from inside the tube and closing the other end, shaping the wire into a snowball shape. I'm also creating 2 others slightly different sizes, so I have a total of 3. Now I'm mixing a tone of paint that resembles an allium flower, which is a mix of pink and burgundy. Using a small paintbrush, I'm painting the outside of the wire, allowing the paint to drip. To paint the inside, I'm sticking the brush through the wire, then utilizing those drips to coat the inside. Now I'm choosing a natural green paint tone to paint 3 bamboo garden stakes. Using a small drill bit, I'm drilling one small hole through the stake near one end, then twisting it to drill another so there's holes on all 4 sides. I'm cutting 2 wires about 6 inches long, then threading the wires through the holes while giving them one wrap around the stake so they stay in place. Now I'm inserting the wired end of the stake into the bottom of the flower head and attaching them together using the wires and repeating the process with the other 2 as well. Using some Dollar Tree faux grass, I'm separating the bunches, then clipping the wires at the base. I'm gauging where to attach the leaves, then drilling a hole through the stake and inserting the grass wire through the hole, then twisting it around the stake until it's firmly attached. So before the big reveal, let's make one more thing with hardware cloth and a wooden bowl. For this project, I'm using 1/4-inch metal cloth, which is important. Larger or smaller squares will not work. I'm going to cut enough wire to roll, then fit inside the rim of the wooden bowl with a tiny bit of overlap. Next, I'm going to create a safe edge by bending the wire. I'm positioning a metal ruler along the top of the wire edge with about 1/2 of an inch to spare. Then I'm using another ruler to bend the overedge up and on top of the other ruler. The wire is being rolled into a tube shape, then I'm joining the ends together with snipped wires. Now I'm gauging the length of the tube to about 10 inches long, then cutting off any overedge. I'm now shaping the tube into a square shape so it has 4 corners. I'm cutting each corner about 3 inches long. Now I'm going to cut triangle shapes out of each corner so each flat end side has a point. Next, I'm going to round each point so the tips resemble more of a rounded scalloped edge. Now I'm folding all the curved corners on top of each other to create a closed end, taking care that I'm leaving a curved shape. To attach the layered ends, I'm inserting a wire inside the tube, then threading it through the bottom and twisting it closed from the outside. I'm also attaching any cut edges that are sticking out with more wire, so I'm left with a flat, safe surface. Then all the wire ends are getting trimmed off. For some final shaping, I'm using a hammer to hit the bottom corners to create more of a rounded shape. Now I'm reshaping the open end back to a rounded shape so it'll fit inside the bowl. I'm now drilling a hole into the bottom of the bowl, then screwing in a hook. Drilling a pilot hole first makes adding the hook so much easier. Now I'm filling the inside of the caged area with black oil sunflower seeds that fit perfectly inside the 1/4 inch metal cloth. I'm drilling 2 holes through the sides of the bowl, ensuring they are large enough for a couple of nails with larger heads to slip through. Using wire cutters, I am creating a rounded entry into each of the 4 lower sides of the cage, then inserting 2 short wooden dowels through the holes. And you are left with an adorable acorn-shaped bird feeder that holds enough seed to last a good long while. The wooden bowl is weather durable and offers sturdiness, while the caged area offers just the right size mesh to hold lots of seed that isn't difficult for the birds to eat from. The presence of birds is said to benefit your garden, helping keep pests at bay, and it's so enjoyable to watch their visits while I work or relax in the yard. The chicken wire flowers fit right into the yard, adding a touch of whimsy to any flower bed. They are easy to place anywhere your yard could use a little touch of color and interest. Pick up some hardware cloth and river rock to create this super unique idea. While wearing safety gloves, I'm rolling out some 1/4 inch hardware cloth, then marking a height of 22 inches with a clothespin. Now I'm measuring the length of the plate, tripling that number to 39 inches. Using wire snips, I'm cutting the hardware cloth along the 2 measurements, then rolling up the cut wire into a tube shape. Now I'm using zip ties to join the tube shape together permanently. I'm placing them at each end and along the center of the tube, then trimming off the excess. With the tube now standing straight up, I'm placing a cut mesh square on top of the opening. Now I'm using the wires to attach the sheet to the tube. Now I'm trimming down the sheet to the shape of the tube, then using the wire snips to bend the cut wires slightly downward for safety reasons. I'm now gathering some clean river rock from a nearby flower bed, choosing the largest rocks I can find. Turning the wire tube open side up, I'm filling it about 1/4 ways up with the rocks to create a substantial base. For a final touch, I'm positioning the plate on top to close off the tube, which leaves you with a super cool, nature-inspired side table that can display anything you wish. I love the rustic industrial vibe the river rock and wooden plate took on. However, you can also dress it up with white decorative rock teamed up with a sleek black plate on top. The best part is you get to choose your look. This unique side table is a fun way to bring the outdoors in with your decorating while displaying nature's best. And the plastic plate is also waterproof, which is perfect for serving up your favorite beverages indoors or out.